Okay, welcome to Sound Design Live. I'm Nathan Lively, and today I'm here with David Scorteccia and Paolo. Welcome, guys. Can you hear me okay?
Hi. Yes, we can, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Paolo is just behind you. Here's Paolo.
So let's just make sure everything's working okay. I've got my chat open here, and I'm going to write hello to everyone in the chat. So if you can see us and you can hear us and you can see our video, please type yes into the chat. And if you just started watching, maybe you guys could put your name and where you are in the world today. That'll just let us know that everything's working okay. So I'm Nathan and I'm in Minneapolis, for example. And as we're doing this thing today, hands-on with SoundBullet, anytime you have questions or comments, please feel free to put those into the chat, and I'll be trying to keep track of all of the questions in there and passing those along to David as they come up. So this is going to be pretty informal. I have a couple things I want to ask, and I know David has some things he wants to share. But this is just going to be kind of a fun hangout, talking about products, talking about the SoundBullet. So I want to get into this, and we want to talk about SoundBullet. But first of all, David, who are you?
I am a human being. I breathe.
How can you prove that, though?
Well, I can move my body around, so I
Sure.
suppose I'm a human being. So I'm a live sound engineer and I suppose founder of Sonect. And I'm here in Glasgow, Scotland, UK, and this is being recorded while the festival Celtic Connections is on, which is like what you see behind me.
Celtic Connections. So tell us about that. Yeah.
So Celtic Connections is a venue festival that happens in January when things are supposed to be really quiet, and it has a lot of events. It has like 25 plus venues in Glasgow, and something like 300 events in the run of 3 weeks.
Wow.
And so like it's quite a kind of technically complex festival. And
yeah, it's a little bit like South by Southwest.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm here in the Old Fruitmarket, which is a venue in Glasgow, in the Merchant Square area of Glasgow, and it's a really nice venue, as you can see.
Yeah, so I'll make your video bigger there so people can see. So you're just up above the stage, right? So you're off to stage left there?
Yeah, pretty much. So this is the stage, and this is where the kind of monitor desk is, and it's actually a really good location to be as a monitor engineer. So you can look directly at the artists, and and they can look at you, so they can make requests real quick.
Sure. And what is your function as part of this festival? Are you actually mixing monitors, or what are you doing there?
So I am stealing this room. Like I'm not actually doing I'm actually like not working in this particular venue, but I was working as a patch tech in a venue called the Drygate, where a showcase was in the last few days, but every pretty much every sound engineer in this festival are kind of like my friends. So I was like, hey, can I go and like can do a nice looking venue so that I can show some real life scenarios with the SoundBullet and stuff, and they were really, yeah, cool, whatever.
Great. Okay, so for people who might be wondering what is the SoundBullet, I have interviewed David all about it. What was this, like a year and a half ago, maybe? And so I'll put a link to this in the chat right now for people who want to listen to it later who might not know. But David, do you want to just give us like the 30-second explanation of what is the SoundBullet?
Sure, I'll try and keep it under 30 seconds. So the SoundBullet is a little help designed to help sound engineers to find faults into audio lines, but also to kind of that assurance that the really complex system they set up is functioning properly. So just the kind of put the tick on the on the checklist and so that people can carry on with what sound engineering should be all about, which is like mixing music and be behind this kind of complex scenery.
Yeah, so there were a couple of dropouts there in your audio, David, but the signal seems okay now. So let's just keep moving forward, because I think as we start doing some of these demos, which is what we're here to do today, it will become more clear to people what the Sound Bullet is all about. By the way,
Sure.
Here's mine, so maybe I'll be able to do some of these things along with you today.
I also have one.
Great.
That's a good start.
We both have our Sound Bullets. And I can just tell you that it's always an impressive moment out in the field when I'm either an A2 or I'm working with another sound engineer, and we get to that point in the day when we need to test all of our inputs, and I'm able to put this into everything that is not a microphone, and people are always like, what's that? That's so helpful. I want to get one of those. So right off the bat, like, that is the thing that I use it for the most often, is just checking inputs on, those line level sources that you might not have hooked up already, or, things like DIs, you don't have a bass guitar with you there to plug into it right away. So that just gives you an idea of where we're going with this. And so what I asked David here to do today is I thought it might be fun if we could actually see in real life how some problems in audio can be troubleshot. What's a better way of saying that? We want to see some real life troubleshooting. So David, what do you want to show us first?
I mean, I'll show you, I don't really have a complete event kind of up here. I just set some lines up so that people can appreciate how how I would usually align. So perhaps Mr. Paolo here can help me with the camera handling. So if the sound drops out, if you can let me know so that I can explain again.
Okay.
Basically, say I'm in this event and I'm kind of doing monitors or maybe patch, and I want to make sure that each line is properly configured. By the way, I don't know if people haven't seen it. This is what the Sound Bullet looks like, because I'm pretty sure there will be people. Oh yeah, Sound Bullet, but what is this? It's just this is a rechargeable thing, and I'll just show you how I can test an input line. So I would just go into the monitored console, and just make sure that I have phantom power on, the line that I would like to test. Then I just basically just take the Sound Bullet and go to stage. So if Paolo can follow me with this, watch your step. So essentially, it's just a matter of turning the device on. You don't need to press anything, because the Sound Bullet will start to generate noise right away. And then I'll just plug it to the line that I would like to test. And if it is two people that's doing this, probably I would be the one with the Sound Bullet, and I'll be right on stage while the other person on the desk can check that they are receiving the actual signal. So what I'm looking at here is just to make sure that the two LEDs come on. That means that phantom power is successfully being transferred to the sub box, and then since there's no another person on the desk, we'll just move up to the board, and what I would typically do if you come up and look at this, so I'll just check that I'm actually receiving the signal. So if you close, the meters showing up, and then if I pick my headphones in, I can hear that the signal is indeed coming. So this is how I would test the inputs on a console. So yeah, this is one of the tests you can do. I might just jump over and pick up the Sound Bullet again because I left it on stage.
All right, that was great. So if you are the person down on the stage, you can see that phantom power is coming through, so you can check all of the lines that way. And if you're the person up at the console, you can hear signal coming through, and so you can check all the lines that way. So is that common for you? Are you sort of working with someone else and you'll go through and just do a continuity check of everything once you have it hooked up?
Yeah, so I mean, if I if I was the only person on stage, I would probably do this myself, but I probably wouldn't do it for every line because it wouldn't really be possible for me to be like that, like down there as well as on the desk here. But I have been in a situation where I was working at a festival, and I actually had the possibility of having all of the sub snakes with me. So I would just go through each line and just like make sure that all 3 pins of the XLR line are working properly. But mostly, I would say that I would use a sound bullet just in case there's some kind of issue where maybe like a bass guitar player, and his bass signal like isn't coming to the board. So I would just go and analyze each link of the chain and to just make sure which part of the chain is missing. And the sound bullet can do that as a signal generator as well as a miniaturized speaker. So if I was doing monitors and somebody was on stage and like they were maybe needing like hardwire in-ear monitoring, so which requires me to run an XLR cable to the stage, I could just like send pink noise to that line, run over to stage and just like plug that line into the sound bullet, and then I would hear like the pink noise that was generating, which will confirm that that line is working. And this is really useful because usually artists all arrive at the same time, and there's not really a lot of time to troubleshoot. If there's any issues, there's not really a lot of time to go through each bit. So I always prefer to have everything checked beforehand, so that if I do need to like help somebody to to troubleshoot their pedal boards or their like little in-ear monitoring mixer or whatever, then I know that the part that I set up works, so that I can go and address the part that it's dubious, basically.
Sure. And I can tell you one thing that I use that on a lot, working on corporate events, is just figuring out where the problem is when I'm sending out signals to a lot of people. So we all work on a lot of hybrid events these days, right? And so what happens is that I need to send my signal out 10 times, so like 10 different places. It's got to go to the speakers in the room, maybe there's some speakers in the hallway, and then it's also going to a broadcast stream, it's going to 2 different record decks, there's all these places. And so I'm now responsible for all these different outputs. And so different people are telling me, hey, my output's not working. And so then I can take this over there and I say, well, hold on, I think for me it's actually working. So I can go to the last place in the chain where I'm sending the XLR to them. I plug this in, I can hear it on the speaker, it's coming out, and I can show it to them and say, well, it's coming out of this line, so there's some problem here, and then we're able to figure out, oh, it was just connected to the wrong input or something like that. So the little speaker built into the sound bullet has been super helpful. And I don't know if we can demo that, but let me ask you a couple of questions that came in first. So, let me just put this on the screen. I think I can do this. Here we go. I don't know exactly what he means by this. Does it, will the sound bullet ever get USB-C? Now, do you think they mean USB-C power? Oh, you do. Okay, go ahead.
I understand the question because it's a really hot question at the moment. And I as the product creator, because that sounds like a name, but in fact that's what I'm a product manager of sound bullet. That is something that I completely agree with. Like everybody is asking about this. Totally agree with this. And it's being developed. As we speak. Problem is in like manufacturing, like electronics and stuff. It's not really.
Hey David, you're having some dropouts, and I'm not sure. I think it's not because of your actual connection, because your internet connection looks solid. I wonder if it's maybe your in-ears. So just try talking a little bit more, and we'll see if it's okay.
Hello. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, it's okay. So you'll have to start that explanation again.
Yeah, no, it's okay. So like what I was trying to say is that I totally agree with the with the USB-C port for charging being a much better port. And it is being developed by the engineering team at the moment, and um, unfortunately, since we don't do software, it's not just a matter of doing like a firmware update. There's like a lot of processes going on with like asking the manufacturer, or is this possible? Redesign the PCB, and then also we've got like a whole lot of old PCB boards like sitting there that but like what do we do this? Do we just like throw them away kind of thing? So it's definitely something that's going to happen. It would just won't be that quick, but I just would really want to reassure people that this is something that I also really feel that is like a design flow with the sound bullet. It should totally have the USB-C, and it's being developed. It'll come out soon enough.
Great.
Could you hear that? Yeah.
So I think this was answered before, but yeah, there's a battery in there, and it's rechargeable, and it lasts a really long time. Actually, I forget sometimes to check, and then but yeah, rechargeable battery.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I need to look at the. So it doesn't require 48 volts to charge, but it can check for 48 volts, and can it generate tone just from battery? Yeah, like this. Okay, I suppose like I understand. So it doesn't need phantom power to operate. It's a battery-powered device, and battery is rechargeable, so and it lasts for a very long time. So the problem I have most to just forget my charger at home because like charging it is a very frequent thing I need to do. So like let's say it might be a gig. Oh crap!
Yeah.
I've got my charger.
Yeah. Another feature request. Will there be an NL4 version for testing speaker lines? Now that would have to be a bigger thing, and then it wouldn't quite fit in your pocket anymore.
I've been scratching my head about this for a very long time. At the moment, it's not on the top priorities, but it's definitely something that I would love to have myself, because I've been in a situation where I had to, I couldn't actually place the wedges on stage, like my monitor wedges, but I could just run the cables. And I would have loved to have something that would help me to just send pink noise to that and just kind of check it. So it's definitely something that's going to happen. It's not on the priority list at the moment, but and the whole idea is that it needs to be super tiny, because like I just my Peli case isn't really that big, so I really want stuff that's tiny and small.
I agree.
It's really easy to use.
And just a nice thing here from Brett. I never do a gig without this thing. So thanks, Brett.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Okay, cool. So let's do another demo, David. What do you want to show us next?
I mean, I would love to do that test where I send something from the desk to the stage, but it might take a little bit of setup here. So maybe I could show you exactly what we did before, but
sure.
Instead of using the XLR output, I can use the jack. So this is actually something that the first time I used this, I was like, whoa, this is gonna be like a game changer for me. Like I love this application. Basically, if I just use this like little provided jack, allows me to output a signal into a DI box, which is something that before having the sample I was able to do, but I had to grab a SM58, an XLR to back cable, wrap that around my neck or whatever, and just like.
Hey David, I'm gonna interrupt you again. I'm sorry, the audio got kind of weird there for a second.
Okay. Which bit did you get to?
I wonder, should we try? Is there anything we can do about your in-ears? Or no, you're using the microphone on the camera, right?
Yeah.
I wonder if we should try to get you to reconnect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, is that okay? Will you disconnect and then tune back in?
Yeah,
okay.
I can do that. Yeah, no bother.
So everybody, we'll just take a break here for just a second. We'll be back with David with some improved audio. and maybe I'll put this up again. So if you're just joining us, we are talking to David Scorteccia, who is the creator of the Sound Bullet, and I interviewed him for the Sound Design Live podcast a while back. It's a really cool tool. It's just a little pocket-sized. Here, let me make my video bigger again. It's just a pocket-sized little test box. So yeah, somebody mentioned a Q box earlier, so similar kind of thing. And it looks like David's back with us, so I'm going to put him back on here in a second. All right, David, I'm putting you back in. Hey, you sound great. So yeah, why don't you start that explanation again, because I'd love to get this complete demo in there.
Sure, yeah. So it was just to do the exact same test that we did earlier with the XLR output, but this time to do it with the quarter-inch jack adapter.
Great.
This is really useful to test a DI box. Are you still there with us?
Yeah, I'm still here. I just
okay.
hid my
Cool,
video
cool.
to make your video bigger.
Okay, no problem. So, and it's it's really simple, and it was my personal life changer when I started to use the Sound Bullet myself, because finally I can actually have a means to test a DI box. So if you grab the phone, I'll show you how that works. So let's just go to the stage. And, So let's just assume that I have a DI box set up here on stage, and what I would do is to again turn the Sound Bullet on, and then press the 2 button, which means that the internal generator is gonna send signal to the quarter-inch jack as well as the speaker and the headphones output. So if I do that, I should start to hear the tone coming out. Then I just kill the volume because I don't need to hear it. Then I plug the quarter-inch adapter in, and just simply plug that into the DI box like that. And then I don't want to go back on stage again, but if there was a monitor engineer up on stage, they would see that I'm sending pink noise to that line. If, for example, maybe that something wasn't working there, what I might do is to just plug the exact same line into the XLR input, and then for example in this case I can see that the phantom power is arriving. So say the sound engineer wasn't getting signal, it probably means that there's an issue with the DI box, because it's the sound was coming definitely from the XLR, but it wasn't when I was plugging into the quarter-inch input. So this is just a way to troubleshoot DI boxes and maybe phantom power, because maybe whoever is doing phantom might have forgotten to turn phantom power on. So if I was to plug that in there and phantom power wasn't on, I can immediately tell whoever is doing phantom power, oh, this is missing phantom power. This is why you weren't getting that DI box. So this is pretty much the quarter-inch adapter tutorial, which is really simple.
And what signal level are you sending in there? Because I see that we can choose from 3 different levels. There's -10, -20, and -40 dB on there.
Yeah. So when I was doing that test, when I would do this test, I would usually set it to -20, which is a kind of a nice balance between a hot signal and a really quiet signal, which would have been -40. But if I don't know, I've been in a situation where I had to troubleshoot my own talk-to-stage microphone. In that case, because I would have gained it up for a microphone, I carefully selected the -40 dBu, so that when I plugged into the XLR, I wouldn't have killed somebody on stage. Which can happen.
So a couple more questions for you. Where does the name Sonic come from? Sonect? How do you say it?
Sonect, yeah, that is correct. It's it's not super well thought through, but it's basically between Sonic and Connect. It's just kind of a way to enhance like connecting sound stuff in a way, you know, because this is what sound engineers do all the time. We just connect cables, and then stuff gets really complex, and we just kind of want to make sure that you know, everything works. You know, it's kind of like what pilots do in a cockpit. You know, they just check stuff like before they fly the really huge machine.
Yeah, and relative to James's suggestion here, that's exactly what I do. Like a lot of people watching right now, a lot of us there are just plenty of times where we end up working by ourselves. And so that's what I'll do, right? We often have tablets, you know, that we can have connected to our consoles now. And so we can walk around on stage with the tablet, plugging things in. We can see signal lights on the meters, and then we can actually put, you know, signal into the system, you know, as we're playing pink noise or a sine tone. And I'm really glad that you put the option to switch between two different signal sources here, because what often happens is that I'm sending peak noise through the system, checking those things, but then sometimes I have a difficulty telling whether or not that's actual just noise in the system, like I get confused, or I've been using the signal generator on the desk, which is only doing pink noise, and so I just sort of get confused. And so being able to switch to the sine tone here, and switch back and forth, I can immediately see, no, this is the signal coming from this thing right now, because I have control over it and I can hear it switching.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, Jason says, can it receive audio through the 1/4-inch jack?
Yes, indeed you can, and this is the whole thing about, you know, having, you know, like so for the XLRs, you need to differentiate between, you know, the XLR used for the output and the one used for the input. But the magic trick with the with the 1/4-inch is that it can act as an output as well as an input. So if you plug a signal into the 1/4-inch jack, you will hear that coming out of the speaker, and you don't need to press any button for that to happen. You just plug it in and it works.
So you do not press the route button then. You just turn it on, plug it in, and you'll hear it through the speaker.
But yeah, because what happens is that when you press the route button, it routes the signal to the 1/4-inch, which is connected to the speaker as well. So that's, you know, like that's why you hear pink noise coming out of the speaker when you send it to the 1/4-inch jack. So yeah, you just plug the thing in there and you hear it.
Okay, let me take this away. David, do you have another demo on your list that you wanted to do for us?
I'll see how quickly I can set up the in-ear monitor situation, and I can show you that the Sun Bullet has a little input meter on it. I'll see if I can do this quickly.
Yeah, take a look at that, and I'll talk for a second. So let me switch to making my video bigger here. And there's something that I can show you guys, which is when I have a cable that I'm, you know, have some questions about, like, is there a problem with this cable, or what else is going on here? You know, this doesn't come apart. Like, I have another cable tester in my closet here that's so big and so heavy that I don't take it on shows with me very much anymore. But you guys have seen those cable testers where you can take the two pieces apart. So you can't do that with this, but if you have both ends next to you, at least, you can plug both ends like this. And then you can turn this guy on. And then it says right here, cable tester, hold select for 2 seconds. So I hold select for 2 seconds, and then I can see this light up. And then as I'm pressing select, let's see, it should go to the next one. Oops, there we go. So I press the root button actually, and it's going through and it's testing each line of the XLR there. So I can see that all the lines are working properly. And so if one of the lines was not connected, then I should see something different here. I can't remember, but it won't look like this, right? One of the lights will not come up.
Okay, so I have this ready. So
Okay.
sorry for the wait.
No, that was great.
Okay, so say I was running an XLR to like a drummer that has hardwire in-ear monitors, and that means that instead of using RF, I actually send a wire, to the stage. So I have already that run in. So what I would typically do is that I would have my internal signal generator on my desk, and I would press the talk button, which sends pink noise, as we can see here. If you can have a look at this. So there's like a pink noise going into that line.
Yeah, we
and
see
then
it.
And then I would go to the stage and make sure that I can see that. So again. So this is the line that I would have run from my mixing console to the stage. What I would do is to plug my sample in there, and I can actually hear that it's making a noise. But also, if say you were working in a very loud environment and you weren't quite able to hear the speaker, which is quite loud if you just put it to your ears, but if you weren't able to hear that, you would see this little input meter. So that LED there signifies that there is signal coming in. So if I unplug that, the signal isn't there anymore. And if this signal was really hot, which is more than 10 dBu, then the red LED above that would turn red, just to signify that it's a really hot signal, and maybe you want to turn it down a bit. So this is the other test you can do with the sound bullet.
Very nice. Thank you. So a question from Diamond District. What's the difference between this unit and a regular cable tester? Well, this is a regular cable tester. I mean, that is one thing that it does, but it also has several other functions and is battery powered and fits in your pocket. But David, what else do you want to say about the difference between the sound bullet and a cable tester?
So like I suppose the sound bullet also is I believe what Diamond District means by cable tester is a continuity tester, which means that you're able to send a voltage down each pin of the XLR and make sure that it comes back to the other end. The difference between that and the sound bullet is that you can use you can use the actual audio content in that cable to do your test. So that means that you can test a wider part of the audio signal chain as opposed to just test the cable. Because, like, for example, if I was on a digital desk that I wasn't really very familiar with, and I didn't know how to do the soft patching on it and stuff, I can just plug this signal generator into the I/O box, or like whatever box that goes through Dante, MADI, or whatever, and then I can go on the desk and make sure that that's actually being received onto the desk, because it's like these things are kind of like really complicated computers. So having something that allows you to just kind of put a signal into it really quick is really helpful. So I hope that answers the question.
And Ben says, is the 1/4" jack TRS or just TS?
It's just TS, so it's to test every unbalanced input and outputs.
Great. So all these demos have been really cool, and this has been so fun to just like look at things in a real context. There's so many times that we're just doing these live stream these days, and it just seems like we're in this abstract like online environment. So David, I really appreciate you setting this up. I'm going to do a quick pitch for the giveaway that I'm running, and then we're going to take any final questions, any last things that you want to show us, David, and then we'll wrap up. So for those of you watching, if you have any other questions for David about how to use the sound bullet to do troubleshooting, interesting problems to solve, maybe more feature requests, I'm sure David gets those all the time. Please put those into the chat, and I will read those out in just a second. So
yeah,
let me show you guys this. Just taking a break here to show you that I am running a giveaway for a laser disto right now. So this is for a Lyco Disto X4, and the reason that I picked this one is because it is marketed as being designed for bright outdoor environments. Now, we've all used lasers outdoors. We know that it is never 100% successful because as soon as you have really bright sunlight, it's really hard to see a laser. But there are definitely some lasers that are better than others. So I'm going to put a link to this in the chat. And if you guys want to win a really great laser, I hope you'll sign up. And of course, you'll go onto my mailing list, but this is the part of the thing is trying to find more people like you that are interested in tools like this that might want to become part of my community and stay connected with me. Okay, that's the giveaway. So we're going to get back into talking to David and seeing if there are any other questions that you guys have. So let's see. AV Educate says, why did David create the sound bullet versus use what was already available on the market? Well, I can tell you guys from our original interview on my podcast, David created this initially for himself, right? Like you wanted to solve your own problems.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I never really wanted to. I mean, I never wanted to sell anything in my life, and also, it wasn't really meant to be a product. I just made the first specimen of it, and I used it, and a lot of people would come to me and say, "Look, I really love that little thing that you have. Can you make me one?" kind of thing. So this is why I decided to create it. And what I couldn't find in the market was something small enough that I could just put into my pocket. There's some really great tools that can do similar things, but I was a little bit afraid that when if I was doing an install or whatever, I really wouldn't quite have that with me. So this is why I made something that is and that it can fit into my pocket. And it's the same with the jack adapter, or just the fact that the connectors stick out is because I would have had to carry something and also a cable to plug that into whatever I'm testing. So this is why I wanted to make something that has protruding connectors and pocket sized and a rechargeable battery. That was the idea, and then it became a product because people wanted to have one.
Cool. Douglas, does David use any Sound Tools products? What does he think of those?
Oh yeah, I love the XLR sniffer sender as well as the NL4 sniffer sender. I have personally used those in a festival situation where I had to continuity test. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Sorry, I just wanted to show. This. I wanted to show this.
Oh yeah, yeah. Big thumbs up. Yeah.
Speaking of Sound Tools.
Yeah, Dave is an incredible person, and it was really enjoyable hanging out with him because this is what we did. We just hanged out and talked about cool stuff. But anyway, so I was using the XLR sniffer sender. I have one in my Peli case, and I was using that to continuity test a multi-core during a festival scenario where that multi-core wasn't yet plugged into the into the desk because it would have been used at a later time during that day. So using that, it was just me on stage and somebody else in the front of house shed, and we were able to go through each input just to make sure that then when everything happened super quick, all the lines were tested.
That's great. So this is sort of similar question before, but I guess Douglas is just asking if something like a NL4 sniffer sender could be made. Is that possible?
It could totally be made. I think one of the main adventures and challenges there would be to make something that is so small that you in fact have it with you all the time, and also to have a battery that is capable of being small while giving out a lot of juice because speakers require more juice. But I would say would be fantastic to have something that can help us with the 4 and NL8. I think NL8 is really widely used with Adams speakers, DM speaker. It's a really great connector as well.
Sure. So Diamond says, I see there's a headphone jack. Could this be used if in need as the Behringer P1? So I guess, could it be used in place of just like a headphone amp? I don't know. I guess it would. You could use it as long as the battery would last.
I have a little musical project myself. I play synthesizers, and there was a moment where I don't have my own headphone amplifier, so I used the sound bullet in a pinch to use as a headphone amplifier. I wouldn't say that the sound bullet is a headphone amplifier because it's mono. Like the battery will last. I mean, the battery will last for about 2.5 hours. But I probably wouldn't recommend using that as like hey, I've got the sound bullet so that you can use it as a headphone amplifier. If push come to shove, then it can be used like that as well.
Ben says, any chance of adding Bantam TT connections for patch bays? So I guess he's looking for maybe something for studio use.
Ben, are you by any chance the same person that asked that in the Sound Bullets user group? This is actually a great question, and I was actually wondering if it can be done with like a little adapter. But what I was wondering there was if the use could be better if it was an actual like an actual input, kind of like the a 1/4-inch jack. Because if you have an adapter that goes from the XLR to the Bantam plug, then you solve half of the problem. Sometimes you might have a Bantam cable that comes out of a big complex patch, and you want to plug that into like the device. So I mean, I suppose maybe like like a little adapter with like a XLR input and output, and then also like a little Bantam arrow would be really helpful. But if more people ask for that, then definitely that's something that we can make it super slick, that it doesn't take too much space and pellicate or whatever. It's a great idea.
So Ben says, yes, I am the same person.
Yes.
So yeah, if more people out there are interested in this feature, that's the way to make it happen. You need to make let David know that you're interested in this. So I guess send him a message in his users group, or his contact is on the Connect website, which I'll put a link to in the chat in just a minute.
Yep. And also, if some people there are, this is really about selling bullets, about asking questions. So if you already have a sound bullet and you have curiosities like, why the heck is this way or whatever, I'm really happy to answer those questions as well. We're doing for time, I think.
So Jason says, why did you choose a mono versus a TRS jack?
Not actually mono, it's unbalanced. The reason there was most of the, like I was saying, I built this thing because I needed for my personal needs, and I made it into product. So the way I was using it was to test unbalanced TS jacks, that would be present in an acoustic guitar output, guitar amp input, box input. So this is why we went down the road of having the unbalanced jack.
Yeah, and you were just, because of a couple of dropouts there, I'll just reiterate that it's because the goal is because of the kind of tests that we're doing with it. That's the main reason. Great. Well, David, I feel like we should start wrapping up, and there are no more questions that I see in the stream. So any final thoughts you want to leave us with, or any final things you want to show us about the sound bullet?
Yeah, I mean, I would really love to say that we're really happy when people write us on the emails or like the DMs on Instagram. So please do not feel afraid to do that, because we really enjoy talking to the community and share ideas and bounce ideas back and forth. I've had some of the most amazing conversations with like the live sound engineers that work in this industry. So it's really, like don't feel afraid to do that, and you can reach me or us at hello@sonectaudio.com, or there's a really cool Soundbullet users group on Facebook, which you can just find by tapping on the Facebook search Soundbullet users group, or just our Instagram, which is the Sonect Audio Instagram. And please be very open with your thoughts, because at the end of the day we make things for you. So if you can tell us what you need and how you can improve, I think that everybody's happy that way. So yeah, that's my final thoughts.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that is the way to do product development, right? Never stop.
Definitely.
Trying to make improvements, having conversations with people about how they're using it, the things that they need, the questions that are coming up for them, and that's the fun part, right? Like you said, you didn't want to make something and just sell something just to sell something, but it's this whole community that's come up around it. It's people posting photos about how they're using it, the questions coming in. So yeah, thanks for doing what you do, David.
Yep. Yeah. Thank you for having me and giving me the opportunity to talk to people that are tuned into your channel, which is amazing. You people should sign up to whatever Nathan does. I can stress enough how amazed I was when I first discovered Nathan stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I really appreciate that. Thanks, David. Okay, well, we're gonna wrap up. Of course, these replays will be available on Facebook and on YouTube into the future, and I'll be monitoring them. And if you guys want to post any more questions when you're watching the replay, please feel free to comment on the video, and either David will see them or I'll send them over to him, and he'll be able to reply to any more questions that might come up. So David, thanks again for being here. And Paolo, thanks for operating the camera. And I hope you guys have, hi Paolo, there he is. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your festival there.
Thank you very much. Honored to be here. Thank you.
All right. Hi guys.
See you later. Bye.